Hi, it's Joy and today I'm going to be watching Batwoman Season 3, Episode 3, Freeze. I'm so excited to jump back into this show. I love it so much. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, although as I always say, I would wait to join on my Patreon or anybody's patrons until the first of the month so that you only get charged once in this short period. Without further ado, let's go.
I never planned on meeting you.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process.
Oh, how's this gonna go?
I see you've risen above your circumstances to get your degree. Climb the corporate ladder, become the acting CEO of Wayne.
All despite you.
Turned yourself into a rather remarkable
You could have done
young
anything
woman.
to help her.
Thank you.
She was remarkable without that as well.
No judgment.
Ryan is too pure.
I'm not interested in having a relationship with you. Now,
Your loss.
I have a meeting. Who are you afraid of? Sometimes it's better to stop asking questions.
Oh goodness, what is the truth here?
I always wondered who my birth mother was. Now I know.
Ryan.
Someone not worth my time.
Exactly.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
But I think there's more to this.
Damn. Also known as my son.
Her brother! Oh my...
You were very clear about... I'll be fine.
Okay, first, how dare she? And second, how'd you know she was still alive?
Seriously, this partnership is carrying on even though Alice tried to ditch it?
Everyone was like, boo.
Seriously?
Alice killed some water. Please, someone.
Okay, please tell me you have some info on this.
Sorry, I despise the City Hall woman even more right now because she made it very clear that if Alice tried to go back on the deal in any way, it was over. Alice tried to go back on the deal, but she just still gets to do whatever she wants. Alice is not going to fear you at all. I mean, Alice would never fear you, exactly, but I, as a viewer, am happy and I want Alice to, you know, continue her path of changing and potentially, you know, becoming someone redeemable, but, like...
Logs say it was tagged and filed at 10:07 a.m. this morning. No record of anyone removing it.
But it's gone.
Can finally finish what Victor started.
Oh, Lord. What is going on?
Tell me.
Korean cryobiologist, half a dozen doctorates, still insisted on being called Mr. Freeze. But then again, Captain is really a captain, so.
Who's that?
Does he know who she is? Did his mum tell him?
27, raised in the system, stint at Blackgate, and now acting CEO of Wayne.
Ryan was born in 1995. They made that very clear. She's not 27. Because I'm 27 and I was horrified to find out she was born in 95. I mean, I'm nearly 28, but that's not the point. Ryan is 26.
You're my sister.
Okay, he does know.
She told you that?
She did. I would ask you for a hug, but you look like you could kick my ass, so.
Pretty sure your mom might beat me to it.
Our mom.
Not if she has anything to say about it. Who is Ryan's father? That's the new key question.
Why don't you show her what she missed out on the last 30 years?
Oof.
What do you say, sis? Want to join forces?
This is an interesting development. I don't know what I make of it.
Cryogenics. My brother-in-law kept meticulous notes.
How did she age that much, if that is Nora?
Which are all common symptoms of faking it.
Oh.
Not physically.
Yes, there's
I'm
much
sorry.
wrong
I
elsewise.
think my dean this whole performative. I'm sick.
That was a good impression.
I don't know. A cry for help, maybe?
Mary is a good person.
Time ago that cries for help don't work.
Look.
It's not gonna work if you never try.
So
There's a dilemma. Do you tell Buffy?
Like, being vulnerable at your own freaking issues and maybe they'll trust you.
Or do you keep Luke's secret? Because you love him.
She does.
I do not
see your place on this team. I've been on it for less than a...
Alice, stop trying to ruin them.
They don't see you. Simply best you know your place.
See, Alice is just making trouble, needling them in their emotional weak spots, and not offering up any vulnerability of her own. What is the point of this partnership?
Flawed. Time would catch up.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I guess is going to be a major problem.
Another problem has just arrived. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like Luke's gonna have to put the suit on, or Alice is gonna have to come to save Ryan. Who is she and who is her client?
What is happening?
They trapped me in the cryo.
Oh, she could have been talking to him any time. Why did you wait for it to be turned on?
You need to suit up.
Uh-huh.
Help.
Time.
I have an idea. Let's talk about what I want.
What the hell are you doing?
Alice breaks.
Nanobots out of me now. You know I can't do that.
Alice breaks the terms of the deal every other second.
Let her.
What?
I am so sick of people sacrificing their lives for me. So you want me to kill you?
God.
You worst hostage.
Alice was never gonna kill her, I don't think.
I was being nice to you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Nice?
Alice. Yes.
No wonder I'm losing my freaking mind.
You do want it, actually, because you want people to like you. You want people to care about you. You want people to see that you matter. And then you give people no. Every time someone tries, you act like they don't try.
She's my sister.
You certainly fight like it. But I gotta say, I understand her. Trapped her whole life. And now she wants her freedom.
But she's committed
Does your
crimes.
sister know that that's what you... Batcave to Batwoman.
Alice has yet to show any real sign to Mary, Ryan, Luke, any of the good guys, that she has changed and that, you know, were she to get her freedom, she would not go on killing sprees, that she would just go and try and have tea party somewhere. You know, like, she's not... We as the audience, I hope, have seen that, like, she was never actually going to kill Nora. Like, she's... I still am mad at her for killing the guy in the therapist office. I know that was before she got her memories of Ocean back, but even so, like, that was still too recent for me. But other than that, she hasn't killed any innocent people, so as a viewer we can kind of think, oh, maybe this change is actually happening. But every time people try, she's like, oh, I don't want you to be nice, I don't like you. And then Alice is frustrating, and I understand why she's frustrating, but my goodness is she frustrating. And, like, I know a lot of people often criticise the Bat team for how they treat her, and I'm like, of course they treat her that way, because they've never seen the other side of her, and she's a serial killer who they don't currently have proof isn't gonna serial kill, and she murdered Mary's mother. Like, the fact that Mary is even being nice to her shows you the extent of Mary's character.
This is a good time to tell you I'm mad at you.
Oh.
Telling you you don't know me. At all.
Interesting.
You think you do.
Good, good, good.
Good? Batwing! Someone talk to me. Check in.
Yeah, she's okay. She's okay.
Like, Luke, you could have interrupted Sophie while she was screaming at you. Oh, Lord.
Traffic cams found us 2 vehicles.
She was literally just hypothermic and falling asleep, and now she's like, I'm totally fine at the head.
You're clever, which means you're right. There is something I didn't know about you.
Take that as a thank you.
It's a bit of a backhanded compliment.
What are you doing?
This woman is crazy! Did they seriously just destroy the bridge?
Not to state the obvious, but you do see that impassable gap in the bridge, correct? I need a copy of the chunk of bridge missing at your 12 o'clock.
Ryan, if I was Luke, I'd be like, you know, I'm gonna wait this side, actually.
Control freak. Add that to your list too.
Batwoman, what the hell are you doing?
Oh my goodness, I love them! Ryan.
Bad ass.
It was interesting.
They are flirting.
Woman, you are hard to please.
And I don't know how I feel about it, but I like it as well. I love their friendship regardless. Oof. Okay, well right now no one else seems to be in danger, so that's something, and we can track this woman down. We know that she's got a client that needs to be cryo-frozen, and... what is wrong with her? Because I do believe her that something is, but I don't... I think it's just the... like... she can't really see them, that's not what... yeah, like she's... oh, Alice, what is wrong with you? Uh-huh. Maybe if you were honest with Mary and let her be nice to you.
I shouldn't have cleared you for field duty. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I put your life and this
This
team
is
in
the right
jeopardy.
You wanna
thing
worry
to
about the team?
do.
I'm the team doctor. I know what I'm talking about.
I hear you, Mary. And
Oof.
thank you. But I wouldn't be standing here if Batwing hadn't been with me last night.
But was he facing a hail of bullets or a huge
No
adrenaline
offense,
rush?
Ryan, but you don't have PTSD.
Are you up for this?
Of course he's gonna say yes. That doesn't mean he is.
Okay.
I had to say something.
She did.
No, you didn't.
She did, because the next time it happens you could get shot or drown or some terrible thing could happen. And of course Alice has got under her skin now about how they didn't listen to her.
What do you want?
That is the most important thing here, but it's a hard thing to know. But it's
Funny,
he's
you
her
can have me
family.
and loves me unconditionally.
I know, my love. Everyone deserves
That's what I
that.
want. I want a mom.
Sophie has a mum, but she doesn't love her unconditionally.
As tempting as it is to have a brother,
Oh, Ryan.
I gotta put the team first.
Oh, no, if you want your brother, you should get him. But, oh. Oh, Mary. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. That was uncalled for. Did it... Is it just going around kidnapping loads of people? Is it just attacking people left, right and centre? Did it know about Mary somehow? What? I don't know too much about Poison Ivy's fine. I know in the last episode we knew that there was more out there. She could have helped Batwoman about that. What? Not okay with that. Oh, this was another brilliant episode with so many twists and turns. I think I'm so interested in the story of Ryan with her birth family because there is more to this story than that. The fact that Jada Jet has a kid that she's raised, a kid that is older than Ryan. Now, it could just be as simple as Ryan is the product of an affair and it nearly destroyed her marriage and her life, and so she kind of wants to keep that secret. That does make sense, you know. But I feel like for a plot that's kind of too open and closed, easy done. I feel like there's going to be more to it than that. The question is going to be who Ryan's dad is. Maybe he's someone that's a scary person, or he's a really well-influenced person, or like, I don't know. Maybe it'll just be that, like, he was a poor person and Jada couldn't have that. I don't know. But I feel like if I was Ryan, I would want to know that half of the equation. Like, did he know about her? You know, I understand that having a mum is something that, you know, all parents are wonderful as long as they love their children and are there for them, but I do think it's interesting that Ryan hasn't seemed concerned about her dad, and I think that's partly because she briefly had a mum with her, like, the one that Alex gang killed. She briefly had a mum, and so she kind of knows what that feeling should be like, and she can imagine having had that all of her life. I think it would be really interesting with everything Sophie said about, like, you don't really know me, there's more to what I know, for Sophie and Ryan to form a friendship at the very least, where they could talk, and Sophie could talk about how her mum doesn't acknowledge that she's gay, or, you know, I'm pretty sure her mum just isn't in contact with her at the moment, right? That was something that the sister said, but, you know, I just think it's so... that would be a really interesting way for them to bond, and I think Sophie is still holding herself back a little bit from them, but she's starting to open up, and that's what I love. So with Jada, I'm interested because I feel like when Ryan was like, oh, at least I know the truth now about my birth mother, that she's someone that's not worth knowing, Jada kind of had this momentary look of, like, that hurt, like that blow landed, and then she bounced back and was like, yeah, both of us. So I think, to me, it really did look in that moment as though she was hurt in that second, which, you know, and then she pulled back on her armour and back on her glib like everything's fine, which really makes me think there is more to the story, that if she had her way, she would have kept Ryan. Very confused about how the maths works when he said Ryan was 27, but apparently she was born in 95, and, like, that doesn't add up. So, like, yeah, it was Ryan's birthday, a lie. Can I breathe and hope that she's a little closer in age to me? No. Her brother seems like an interesting character. He definitely seems like someone that has grown up in the lap of luxury. And so when you look at, like, Ryan, who has had to sort of fight for everything she has, and the fact that Ryan is such a selfless and good person is such a testament to how much she's achieved and how wonderful and good she is. And yeah, she'll make mistakes, yeah, she'll waver, but at her core, she's a good person. We don't know anything about her brother yet. He seems nice, he seems likeable. I would love her to get to have a relationship with him, but it definitely seems like he's your kind of typical pampered rich kid. The question is, we still don't know the content of his character, and Mary is an example that you can be a pampered rich kid and still have a heart of gold and still work to better yourself and work to be a good person for those around you. So I'm not writing her brother off by any means, but it's interesting that he kind of came to her immediately with a business proposition. It wasn't like, you know, it made me feel like he wanted to use a relationship with Ryan to kind of get one over on his mother, rather than wanting to get to know his sister, and then after a while of getting to know each other, him being like, why don't we go into business together? You know, that was the bit, like when he just was like, kind of like, let's know each other, that seemed promising. But for me, it concerns me that he immediately was like, and then let's entangle our businesses together. You know, what was that all about? But I am very, very intrigued. You know, is it simply that Jada's husband is a very scary person? Could the son be similar somehow? I don't know. Is that it? Does she want to protect Ryan from the blowback of that? And is the son knowing about her putting her in danger? I feel like there are so many layers to this story that we obviously don't know yet, and I'm very excited to unpack them. Ryan and Sophie, I love their friendship. I think having seen it grow over the last season and into this one, you know, from Ryan just, that is the crow that's arrested me a bunch, I despise her, and initially Sophie being like, oh yeah, that's an ex-con, to both of them learning about each other, realising that things weren't quite as black and white, but also realising where their own mistakes maybe were made, largely on Sophie's part there, but that was all to do with Sophie's understanding of the crows and everything. I think their friendship, regardless of anything else, I'm so excited to see develop this season. And you know, I wouldn't mind them becoming more than friends, but at the same time, I'm like, Sophie and Kate alive? I know that like they're kind of a, you know, if Kate were to ever come back, which I hope she does at least, you know, briefly, to find that the new Batwoman has her girlfriend as well, it would be a little harsh. But no, regardless, them just doing some harmless flirting is fine. And if they do want to take it somewhere, I'm open-minded about it, I'm okay with it. But I'm really enjoying the growth of their connection and their friendship, and I know that it was to keep her awake when she was dying, but the fact that Sophie let some emotional vulnerability out about, like, you don't even know me, was wonderful. Luke and Mary, God, last episode, I was like, oh, sparks are flying. They kind of forgot about those sparks for a season, and now my sparks are flying. Alice definitely needed a sore spot with Mary. I think we know that in season 1, Mary kind of had to fight to be taken seriously, and that was largely because her outward persona to the world was bubbly, social media socialite influencer, you know, just cares about fashion and going to all the parties, which was a persona she kept up largely. I mean, again, she enjoyed herself, but that was very much something she hid behind so that her mother and nobody would question where she went at odd times of the night, and no one would realise that she was running a secret clinic for people without much money. When Kate and the viewers discovered the truth of that, it really did change your perception of Mary and open everything up. But even so, Mary has been fighting to be taken seriously and fighting to be listened to for a very long time. And obviously, some of her ideas are very flippant and some of her ideas are very Mary-like. But I think when a doctor, the team doctor, says they are not fit to be in the field, you should listen, and it doesn't matter how many times Luke says, no, I'm fine, he isn't. And maybe, you know, like in a sports situation, if the team doctor said, oh no, that player's concussed, it's not good, but the coach was like, oh no, he's fine, he's going on, the team player was like, yeah, I want to go on, they shouldn't go on if the team doctor says no. I don't think it's as simple as Alice being like, oh, they just don't care about you, or they just don't take you seriously. Definitely, I think at some point Mary's going to have to be able to put her foot down with Ryan a bit and say, look, what I say matters, and if I think one of you is not medically fit to be out there, they are not medically fit to be out there. Like, yes, it's gone okay with Luke today, but his suit didn't seize up, and no one was firing at him. He wasn't, you know, surrounded in a potentially, if everything doesn't go perfectly, there's no way out type situation, which he's been in other times. I think what's unfortunate is I'm pretty sure something's going to happen that's going to cause Luke to have another panic attack, to have another episode of whatever's going on with him, and he's going to be put in a very vulnerable position. Potentially Ryan will as well, and Mary will be proved right in the worst way rather than them just listening to her. Alice has a vague point, but as always, she takes something that she knows is potentially a sore spot, something that, because she's very intelligent and very like aware of people, she's seen where that is, that kind of slight fault line, and she's pressing on it. It's not as big of a thing as Alice is making it out to be. Now, I do believe that Ryan and Luke both need to take more care of Mary's medical advice and not just dismiss her, but they do value her, and I think it's part of that is they don't realise they're doing it, but they are. Alice could have offered that in a helpful, friendly way, but instead she did it in that needly way. I love Alice as a character, but I do get frustrated with her because I feel like we're just going around in circles with her and we're not really getting anywhere. We have little bits of progress, we do, but I feel like, you know, this season when it was like, oh, they're going to have to work together, I was kind of like, oh, maybe we're actually going to see some... And I know it's been 2 episodes, but in those 2 episodes, Alice has tried to escape, continually said she wants to escape, threatened people, you know, she's not abiding by the rules of the agreement, but Montoya's made it so that if Alice doesn't abide by the rules of the agreement, Bat Team. And it's stupid. And Alice, I think it's interesting, the fact that, you know, that the sister was like, oh, I follow the news and I know she's been captive all of her life and she wants freedom. And I can understand that. And if Alice had just done a string of robberies and had never hurt a single soul, I would be advocating for forgiving her and letting her go. But she's killed a lot of people and she kills without much compunction, and the Bat Team haven't got extensive evidence that she doesn't still want to do that, and her holding a knife to Nora's neck added to that. Now, that being said, I don't think Alice was about to kill that old lady, but, you know, and even Mary, I think, wasn't overly concerned that she would, but, like, Alice just needs to keep showing that she has changed. And she doesn't have to say, oh, I like you guys, I care about you, let's be best friends. That's fine. She can dislike them. That is totally okay. But every time, you know, I'm like, oh, this is a moment where she could let her vulnerability out. Or not even just her vulnerability, but where she could kind of show a commitment to doing good and to being better and to earning freedom. Or at least not earning freedom, but earning the redemption that would enable her to have freedom. She pulls back and she does something awful. And but I thought it was interesting that I feel like that conversation with Nora and Mary was kind of putting the onus on Mary to be the one to offer Alice freedom, be the one to, you know, move past everything. Alice murdered her mother that whole situation. Alice murdered her mother, made it so that her mother had to choose her life over, choose Mary's life over hers, you know, all of that. Alice did that. And I know that since then she's remembered she loved Ocean, but I don't think it's fair to put the onus on Mary to just get over that. You know, someone like Luke, who Alice has never directly, she's done stuff, don't get me wrong, but she's never directly done anything to destroy his life. Maybe, definitely somebody like Kate, if Kate was still around, being focused on helping Alice is understandable. But to somebody like Mary, the fact that she is even this nice to Alice, this viewing of Alice, referring to Alice as her sister, is a huge testament to Mary's strength and Mary's goodness, that I don't like the impetus that Mary is doing wrong by Alice. Because if anybody on this team has a right to want Alice trapped at all times and put away, it is Mary, because she killed her mother. Like, a sad backstory doesn't excuse actions, especially as it's not even like Catherine locked her up. I know what Catherine did caused the search to stop, but they'd already searched that house. They were never going to find her, and that is the sad truth of it. But I don't know, I just felt like that seemed a little weird to me, because it kind of felt like Nora was sort of saying to Mary, like, oh, go easy on her or whatever, and it was like, admittedly, Nora was somebody that was admitted to Arkham herself for unstable behaviour, and I do seem to remember her attacking people in the one of the crossovers, but yes. So with Alice, it's very interesting. Now, something is going on with her. She is having hallucinations. Now, is this part of, you know, her... I don't know if it is psychosis, but, you know, like her whole Alice persona, that she kind of developed to protect Beth from everything that was happening. She doesn't have like a split personality, but it's sort of along those lines. I feel like she became Alice so that Beth, innocent Beth, wouldn't have to go through any of this stuff. And she's remembered she loves Ocean. Is it kind of that Alice, everything's rosy and I'm going to have a tea party after I murder people persona slipping away, and her maybe trying to cling on to that is causing the hallucinations? Because her getting hallucinations from her dad about how he loved her and wanted to rescue her, that speaks to her wanting a connection and wanting her family to love her. And then her saying to Mary, oh, I hate everyone and I don't want anyone to like... It's not true. I'm very interested. I can totally understand her hating the idea. I would hate the idea of having nanites through my blood tracking me. And given that she's a criminal who wants to run away, that does make sense. But I'm very intrigued about what's going on with her. Is it just something to do with her own mental health deteriorating? Is it something to do with her recovery, weirdly? Or is something else happening? Is Montoya or someone at Arkham or something being done to Alice that is causing this to happen? I would say, I think, if she were to go to Mary, Mary would be able to help her, but Mary has just been abducted by some Ivy, so I'm stressed. Luke, and Mary, like I said, I've sort of got off track, but they all kind of build, like, I don't know if they weren't building anything, but I think they both kind of had a real jolt of, I still really like this person. Alice even saying to Mo that she loves him, and then Mary breaking doctor-patient confidentiality. But, you know, it's a bit like when you see a counsellor or a psychiatrist or a therapist, you know, you sign the thing, they say that, you know, this is totally patient-doctor confidentiality, unless you say something that leads me to believe your life or somebody else is in danger. You know, that is a whole part of it. And I think, like, this is a case of that. Luke's life is in danger. Luke could put Ryan's life in danger, or innocent civilians' lives in danger. If Luke had frozen up today, Ryan would have literally frozen. Dee would be dead. You know, I think there's just... Mary didn't do anything wrong. From a friendship standpoint, Luke is not, because Luke's not willing to admit he's not okay. Luke wants to say, oh no, I'm totally cool, I'm totally fine, I'm totally over it. It's not that simple, and I think, like I said, it's going to come out the worst way rather than in a better way, but yes, I'm stressed. God, I feel like I've lost where I'm going with everything, but no, this was a really, really good episode again. This show raises so many questions and so many grey flags, and I think a lot of the time, I don't know if anyone's even watched this far in the review, hello if you have, a lot of the time, the reason I speak critically of Alice, or, I mean, I do think that if she continues to just be this villain who's not quite the worst villain ever but refuses to do anything good for like 10 seasons, that would get old. But the reason I often speak critically of Alice is because I often either get comments on my videos, I see comments elsewhere of people hating on the Bat team and the good guys for not liking Alice, for wanting to lock her up, for being like, that is a criminal we must put away. And it's not as simple as that, it isn't as black and white as that. So sometimes I kind of labour home the point about how Alice has done bad things because I feel like that needs to be said. But yeah, this was a fantastic episode. A reminder that if you would like to watch the unedited version of this reaction, you can find it on my Patreon. Thank you for watching.